What's up, y'all? It's Tommy here with Everyday Finance, and in this video I'm going to be talking about some of the top virtual business addresses that I've seen that I think you should take a look at. Okay, so if you're someone who's running a business or you're running a home-based business and you want to be a little more professional, then this is a video that you won't want to miss, so stay tuned. Now, I've started getting a lot of questions about virtual addresses in terms of like what the benefits are, especially with my business credit series. Okay, when I did the whole business credit building business credit series, a lot of people asked me about that virtual address because it's something that they weren't really using. They were using more of the home address. And I have recommended that you look into getting a virtual address. Now, this is especially the case if you have an address where or you have you're running a business where you have a website where you need to put your address on the actual website itself, right? In those situations, I wouldn't necessarily put my home address. You don't want people showing up to your house and things like that. It makes more sense for you to get a business address where people can, if they got to send you something, they can send it there. Or if the people are searching your address, it looks a lot more professional if they actually see your, they pull up your address and they see that it's an office building. And so for that reason, I think virtual addresses have started becoming a lot more popular, especially because people are just starting businesses from their homes, right? I think I've always been an advocate of that, and I think that's the easiest way to start is, remove as many barriers as you can. If you shouldn't be dropping, $2,000 for an office space on a business that you just started unless you absolutely need to, right? Obviously, some industries, that's something that you're gonna have to do, but if you can spare, working out of your house for a little bit or something like that, then I think that's the route that I would want to go. And these guys are going to be a great option for you guys because of just the benefits of it, right? It's going to be one huge one is going to be cheaper and a lot more flexible, much more flexible, right? Typically, whenever you're signing a lease for an office building, they're going to have you sign like a 5-year, 10-year lease, and you're going to be paying a large amount, right? You might be paying $1,000, couple $1,000, depending on what area you're at. You might even pay $10,000 a month, depending if you're on a really high traffic area and in a downtown at a big city, whatever it is, right? So one thing I think is the virtual addresses are always going to be much, much cheaper, right? And going to be more flexible because typically you're going to see, when it comes to actual lease terms, you're going to see that if they're not month to month, it's going to be things like 6 months to a year, right? Really short times that, it gives you a lot more reassurance that, if something happens with your business, you don't want to feel like you got to keep paying a lease for the next 4 or 5 years on a business that you started for 6 months and decided it wasn't what you wanted to keep doing. The next thing is going to be that it's going to be a lot more professional, right? Again, that goes back to what I mentioned previously. If you got to put your address on your website, you want to be able to put an address that when people search it, they see, some sort of office building or something, not your actual house, right? And so I think that's key. Also, privacy is another thing. Again, you don't want people pulling up to your house or, people sending mail to your house, things like that. And the long-term commitments that I touched on, I think is a huge one. I enjoy that flexibility, and that's kind of why even me, I have a remote office space that I use, and I'll touch on that here a little bit, what my current solution is. And I find that has a lot of benefits to it because it makes it more flexible, especially because I'm always changing, and I'm a little more impulsive, right? So I'm always like changing up what I'm doing, and I think that this kind of allows me that flexibility that I really enjoy. Now, the first one I'm going to touch on is DaVinci Virtual. So this is going to be one of the larger, and really these 3 companies are some of the largest companies that I've seen. And the reason why I talk about them is because of the benefits that comes with companies of these sizes, right? DaVinci Virtual has over 20,000 locations worldwide. So it's not just here in the States, in the US, it has it all over the world. You're able to find locations. So that's one thing that I found that was really great about them. So one of the top features is you're actually able to rent out their conference rooms, and I think that's great. You can rent out the conference rooms for meetings. Also, they also come with food catering, right? So you can have meals catered. I think this is great, especially if you're in a situation where you don't really need office space that much, but you want to have a great business address, and you want to have that flexibility of being able to hold meetings with, let's say, investors or possibly clients that you might have, right? So this kind of puts you in a situation where you're able to rent out a conference room if you need to, to in their building. And, you know, you can look a lot more professional than I mean, you don't want to tell investors, hey, come to my house. That's where I run my business out of, right? You want to be able to have an area where you can meet with them and kind of show them whatever your business plan is and have an actual professional meeting, you know, even with food catered and things like that. So this is a great option. That's what I really liked about these guys. Now, they're also going to add you to the lobby directory. So, you know, you're going to show up in the lobby, your name will be there and things like that. Just adding more legitimacy, right? So I think that's another benefit as well. You can also have access to day offices. More than likely, this is something where depending on the plan you choose, they'll either give you like a set allotment of time that you can use the day offices, or you're gonna have to pay. You pay per hour, or you know they assign different credits, things like that. On top of that, you also have mail receipt and forwarding, and also you're able to get a live receptionist. Now, I will say, depending on your business, I think a live receptionist is a little overkill. For those of you guys who aren't familiar with that, that pretty much means that, you know, if you get a phone call, someone calls your business phone, you can actually use one of the receptionists who will pick up the phone and route them. So I think that's great if you're you are, you know, I don't know, doing sales, or you need to have that professional look, and you want someone who's on the front lines who can actually send calls to different places depending on who's talking. That's great, but yeah, for me, it's just a little overkill for what I'm doing, so not really something that I was looking at. Okay, now when it comes to the pricing for DaVinci, it's going to start as low as $50 a month, or it's going to be as low as $99 a month if you want the live receptionist. Okay, so those are really the two main packages that they have. More than likely, I would assume that you're going to have to either put down a deposit, and more than likely you're going to have to do the first and last month's rent, right? Or first and last month's payment. So it's going to be some sort of combination of that, right? More than likely. Now, when it comes to DaVinci, I think they're a great option. What I typically recommend is these companies I'm going to list out, check out each of them and see what's available in your location, right? That's the reason why I didn't want to talk about one specific company, because depending on where you are, there might not be that many offices, or the offices might not be the types of, you know, addresses that you want to use. So I would check out each of these companies. I'll link to them down below. I would check out each of these companies and figure out exactly which ones work best for you. Okay. Now, company number 2 is actually Alliance Virtual Offices. Okay. They have over 1,000 locations. You're going to notice these features. I think because they're competing with each other, they tend to have the same features. I've noticed that Alliance had the live receptionist services, the virtual phone numbers, the meeting rooms. You're able to book those. They have co-working spaces, and they have the mail receipt and forwarding. Okay. Those to me were the main options that they had. Now, when it comes to pricing for those guys, I saw that pricing started as low as $50 a month. Now, they do offer really two main plans. They have a virtual office platinum plan and a virtual office platinum plus plan. Okay. And really the main difference I saw between those two is that the Platinum Plus plan has an additional 16 hours of meeting room or private office time. Okay. So you're pretty much paying for that additional, right? That additional difference. And I think it even adds like $100 to your monthly cost. Okay. So that's something that you'll want to consider just if you want that additional aspect of it. Okay. Now, one caveat here is depending on the plan that you choose, you may be required to stick around for a set amount of time. Okay. So for example, it'll be something like they may ask you that you commit that you're going to stick around for 6 months. Right. So that's kind of something that you want to keep in mind as well. Now, a third company is going to be a company that I've used previously. It was a company called Regis. Okay. Now, Regis has about 3,000 co-working spaces worldwide. They have the live receptionist, the virtual phone number, meeting room, booking, co-working spaces, mail, receipt, and forwarding. So the typical things that you're seeing with all these guys. And with them, you know, professional address can be as low as $37 monthly. Virtual office can go from as low as $150 monthly, and virtual office plus, okay, that can go as low as $207 monthly. And all that adds is daily use of meeting rooms and 5 days of office or desk space per month. So I was previously actually using Regis, but I made a few adjustments just because of the the situation that I was in, right? I needed something that had a lot of flexibility to it. So I actually combined another type of professional address, like a smaller company that I had found. And I also got a WeWork subscription. At the time, WeWork was doing an all access. They had just rolled it out. And so I started using that because it allowed me to be able to travel and still have still have an office that I could go to no matter what city that I was going to, or no matter what city I was stopping at. So it's helped me in Colombia, Mexico, even in Spain. And that flexibility was great for me. Now, because I'm starting to go into more not rural cities, but smaller cities, it's making it a little tougher to justify me using WeWork. Okay, as well as, you know, I'm not moving around as much when it comes to anytime I'm actually in town. So I'm still debating whether I'm going to keep WeWork or not. And that's why it kind of made me want to shoot this video, was not only that I was getting people asking me questions about these, but that I'm kind of in that same situation too, as more than likely I'm going to, you know, have to decide between one of these guys as well. I'm going to look and see which ones have the best offices in my area. And then more than likely, I'll end up choosing one of them to move forward with. Okay. Again, that's what I recommend, guys. I recommend that. Check out down below. I link to all of them. Again, I'm partners with majority of those guys. So if you do click the links below, you will be able to help out the channel at no additional cost to you. But what you can also do is, if you don't want to support the channel, you can just, you know, Google search these guys and pull them up. But these are going to be the 3 guys that I think, you know, I've seen are one of the bigger players that are out there. I'd recommend you look through all 3 of them and see what kind of office spaces are available in your area, and then which ones fit your price points. And then from there, you can decide, you know, which office space you want to use. But guys, I think that this is going to be a huge, you know, huge boost for anybody's business, especially if you're looking to build business credit. It's something that you want to look into, right? You don't want to be in a situation where you're using your home address for building business credit, because it doesn't look very credible. You know, no bank's going to want to give a bank loan to a company that's run out of their garage, right? Even though we know that there's people out there who are making money doing that, it really is a tough sell for banks. Okay, so that's why I just try to make it as easy as possible. I'd rather get one of these addresses and use them as a virtual address for any type of business dealings that I'm doing. Okay, so just something for you guys to keep in mind. And that's really the gist of this video, guys. I hope that information helped you a lot. Be sure that you throw a like on this video if you found value in it, and hit the subscribe button down below so you don't miss any of my future videos. Also, if you have any other suggestions or other types of videos that you want to see, comment down below and let me know. That way I'll be sure to try to shoot those videos as soon as I can. Alrighty, so that's gonna be pretty much it for this video, guys. Appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace.